The hearth is cold, the wood is turned to white. We burn so bright, we blinded out the night. I'm kneeling on the rug with a broom and a tray, trying to sweep the memories of forever away. My hands are stained with the sword of our names, the beautiful debris of our desperate flames. It's just the ashes of us, what remains of our fire, the burned out ends of every old desire. I'm sifting through the dust for a spark I can't find, leaving all the warmth and the light behind. We were a forest fire, we were a holy rush. Now I'm just breathing the ashes of us. They say that something new grows from the ground that's burned, but I'm still staring at the lessons that I never learned. You left the matches on the table, you left the door ajar. I didn't know the smoke could travel quite this far. Now the ceiling's turning black and the air is getting thin, and I'm wondering if the wind is finally moving in. It's just the ashes of us, what remains of our fire, the burnt out ends of every old desire. I'm sifting through the dust for a spark I can't find, leaving all the warmth and the light behind. We were a forest fire, we were a holy rush. Now I'm just breathing the ashes of us. I trade the peace for the stinging of the heat, I trade the silence for the way your heart would beat. But the wind is blowing through the cracks in the wall, and there's nothing left to catch me when I start to fall. It's just the ashes of us, what remains of our fire, the burnt out ends of every old desire. I'm sifting through the dust for a spark I can't find, leaving all the warmth and the light behind. We were a forest fire, we were a holy rush. Now I'm just breathing the ashes of us. Scattered to the wind, let the gray begin. What remains of our fire, just dust. I made my wishes on the freckles on your skin, constellations in the dark where I would begin to map a universe where you and I were one. But now my sky is falling and my wishing's all but done. You said we'd never fade, we'd burn eternal, bright and true. But supernovas leave their scars in shades of black and blue, and I'm left here watching as the heavens come apart, with a wounded galaxy inside my bleeding heart. These are bleeding stars, they're falling from our sky. Every promise that we made is just a teardrop in my eye. We painted heaven with our hands, but it was made of dust and scars. Now all I see is emptiness and these bleeding just drifting, lost and desperate in a beautiful and cruel world you left behind you with no atmosphere to breathe, just the memory of your life, the darkness you bequeathed. I'm searching for a satellite, a signal in the night, a single blanket message saying maybe you were right, but all the static whispers is a cold astronomy of how you were a black hole that was always meant for me. These are bleeding stars, they're falling from our sky. Every promise that we made is just a teardrop in my eye. We painted heaven with our hands, but it was made of dust and scars. Now all I see is emptiness and these bleeding, bleeding stars. Was it all a beautiful catastrophe from the start? A collision course written in the stars. Now the debris is beautiful, a glittering painful art, the glittering painful art of a bleeding heart. I stand, I cosmos turning to night, just bleeding stars. Creases where I folded to fit inside your pocket. A silent promise softly spoken. Now I'm just to know you forgot it wasn't thunder, just the rain that washed the ink away. All our plans in blue and red are just a smudged and fading gray. And I try to smooth it out, but every scar just shows this paper thin reality. Everybody knows I'm just a paper heart in a world that pours, trying to hold your memory, but it's tearing at the seams. I was fragile from the start, a delicate design. Now I'm just origami, trying to realign. I remember how you held me like a secret, like a prayer. The secrets fade and prayers get lost in the static of the air. paper airplane with no wind beneath my wings, just a spiraling descent and the hurt that distance brings. And I'm tracing where you touch, but the lead is wearing thin, a sketched out simulation of the shape we might have been. I'm just a paper heart in a world that pours, trying to hold your memory, but it's tearing at the seams. I was fragile from the start, a delicate design. Now I'm just origami, trying to realign. Watercolor feelings bleed through every single layer, a masterpiece of maybe. Now it crumbles, see you later. I'm not burning, I'm just soaking through it. All I cannot say, dissolving in the quiet, folding further every day. Just a paper heart, just a paper heart, folding in the dark. The mug's gone cold between my palms, a steep and bitter kind of calm. I watch the steam give up the ghost of conversations I miss the most. You liked it with too sugar sweet. I tease you till you take your seat. Now the sugar bowl just gathers dust along with we and us and trust. It's just cold tea and regret, a duet I can't forget, steeping in the night quite yet, and the I haven't let it go. Cold leaves at the bottom, see a murky deep and silent sea of all the things you meant to be, and all the things I'll never know. Just cold tea. I rinse the cup, the stain remains, a tannin shadow on the plains of porcelain, a perfect ring of how you left with everything. The morning light feels like your story on this silent, sleepy story of a love that boiled over, then just went and quietly grew thin. It's just cold tea and regret, a duet I can't forget, steeping in the not quite yet, and the I haven't let it go. Cold leaves at the bottom, see a murky deep and silent sea of all the things you meant to be, and all the things I'll never know. They say let it go, pour it out, start a fresh pot in the drought. But there's a comfort in the chill, a testament that time stands still in this one small repeated act, a simple solitary fact. I made a space for you right here just a bitter taste of what used to be. Cold tea and regret. The TV on to drown the quiet out, but the silence has a way of finding what I doubt. I'm walking through the rooms where we used to dance so close. Now I'm just a tenant living with a handsome ghost. I see your keys upon the counter, though you took them when you went, and the air still carries traces of your cedarwood scent. It's just echoes in an empty hall, watching shadows stretch against the wall. I'm screaming out your name, but the plaster drinks the sound. I'm looking for the pieces of the love we never found. Every floorboard creaks like you're coming home at last, but it's just the house breathing out the heavy, hollow past. Grocery list inside your winter coat, just a simple milk and bread you casually wrote. How can something so mundane break a heart in two? Just a scrap of paper left of everything of you. I've rearranged the furniture to change the point of view, but no matter where I sit, I'm still looking for you. They say that time is a healer, that the ringing starts to fade, but I'm trapped inside the fortress of the promises we made. And the course of this loneliness are sharp and loud and clear. I'm the only one who's talking, you're the only one I hear. Echoes, just echoes. The hall is getting longer, the silence getting stronger. The space feels so much bigger with just my shadow on the wall. The silence isn't quiet, no, it's a silence call. It points out every vacancy where you used to stand and sit. A museum of the us that you decided just to quit. I dance alone in living rooms, I talk to kitchen chairs. I'm making jokes and telling stories with the nobody who cares. The thermostat is set to cold, the way you like the air, a habit that remains here, though you are no longer there. These empty rooms are echoing with everything we planned, a ghostly conversation that I barely understand. The couch still has your indentation, the mirror holds your gaze. I'm living in a monument to our forgotten days. Oh, these empty rooms are teaching me the meaning of the word, the loudest kind of silence that I've ever seen or heard. The bedroom is a battlefield where sleep just never wins. I'm counting all the losses on the side where love begins. Your pillow is a monument untouched on your head, a perfect fluffy testament to my own better half. Come on. I try to fill the emptiness with television glow, but every show's a love song that just painfully reminds me so that I'm the only heartbeat in this architectural shell, a prisoner of empty rooms and stories I can't tell. These empty rooms are echoing with everything we planned, a ghostly conversation that I barely understand. The couch still has your indentation, the mirror holds your gaze. I'm living in a monument to our forgotten days. Oh, these empty rooms are teaching me the meaning of the word, the loudest kind of silence that I've ever seen or heard. Maybe I should move the furniture or paint the walls a different hue, but changing the geography won't change the missing you. These four walls hold the blueprint of the life we thought we'd lead. Now they're just empty rooms fulfilling a different need. So empty. The colors of our picture, they're running in the rain, a masterpiece we painted, now just a water stain. I trace the lines you left behind upon this empty bed. The echoes of your laughter are the loudest in my head. We were a wildfire burning in the dark. Now I'm just holding ashes, a faded dying spark. And the silence is a language that I'm learning to translate. It tells me that our forever met an early bit of fate. Oh, we're just a faded earth, a ghost of what we were, a silhouette of memory that's starting to blur. I'm living in the afterglow, a pale and muted sun disappearing in the night. I found your favorite sweater. It doesn't smell like you, just fabric and the emptiness of everything we knew. I replay our last winter, the promises we made. They're melting like the snowflakes in the sunshine of this shade. We were a symphony, a perfect crashing chord. Now I'm just hearing fragments that my lonely heart can't afford. And the space between the seconds feels like an ocean I can't cross, just measuring the distance of our permanent final loss. Oh, we're just a faded up, a ghost of where we were, a silhouette of memory that's starting to blur. I'm living in the afterglow, a pale and muted sun, remembering the vivid love before the fading had begun. Yeah, we're just a faded us, a story losing light, a photograph that's disappearing in the night. Did we fade to gray, or was it black and white all along? Was our happy ending just a sad familiar song? I'm coloring outside the lines you drew around my heart, trying to find a shade of me before the fading start. Now we're just a faded us, a whisper, not a scream, a forgotten broken dream. Just a faded us. The room is painted like a morning sky, with clouds and birds that were meant to fly. A tiny soccer bear with no name, waiting for a child that never came. The silence back and forth alone, in a nursery that's turned into a tombstone. The mobile spins for an audience of none, catching the light of a never-risen sun. This empty cradle, this hollow little nest, holds the weight of the dreams we love best. It doesn't creak with a baby's gentle sigh, just the echo of my unanswered why. It's a monument to a future laid to rest. This empty cradle, this aching silent test. My arms have learned an unfamiliar hold, cradling a story that couldn't end. took it all. Life isn't fair, the oldest, cruelest line, written in the space that was meant to be mine, to sing lullabies to a sleeping face. Instead I sing to this empty space, this empty cradle, this promise turned to dust, holds the shadow of a sacred trust. It doesn't creak with a baby's gentle sigh, just the echo of my unanswered why. It's a monument to a love I'll never know. This empty cradle, and how my love still grows. For you, my nose, my never, my still. You painted evenings in the colors of your lies, a masterpiece of purples right before my eyes. You point and say, look baby, isn't it sublime? And I believe the beauty every single time. But a real sunset lingers, fades to indigo. Yours just switched to black the moment you decided to go. No twilight light, no transition, just a curtain falling fast on the pretty painted scenery that was never built to last. We were fake sunsets, all the color, none of the light, a brilliant imitation that would never turn to night. You mixed the perfect orange, you brushed the perfect gold on a canvas that was empty and a story that was sold. Oh, we were fake sunsets, beautiful to see, but the second that I needed warmth, you had none for me. I collected all your promises like postcards on a wall, picturing the future, believing I'd seen all the horizons we would chase, the dawns we'd get to meet, but the sun never really rose on our forgotten street. I was basking in the glow of a neon alternative, a manufactured daylight where no real love could live. And when the power cut out, as I always knew it would, I was left here in the cold and in the dark for good. We were fake sunsets, all the color, none of the light, a brilliant imitation that would never turn to night. You mixed the perfect orange, you brushed the perfect gold on a canvas that was empty and a story that was sold. Oh, we were fake sunsets, beautiful to see, but the second that I needed warmth, you had none for me. Was I the audience or just a part of the display? A prop to make your painted sky look less like a cliche? Now I'm learning to appreciate the gray, the honest rain. 'Cause at least I know the feeling, at least I know the pain is real. And we're fake sunsets, all the color, none of the light. A pretty, pretty poison, never burning bright. You mixed your poison orange, you brushed your poison gold, and you sold it to my heart, a story to be told. Oh, we were fake sunsets. Now I face the night alone, with the memory of a home I've never really known. Floorboards crawling under a weight that isn't there. I'm talking to the shadows, I'm pulling at the air. The kettle's whistling for a cup I shouldn't pour. I keep waiting for your shoulder to lean against the door, but the kitchen's getting colder with every passing tick, and the silence in this hallway is making me feel sick. You're just a ghost in the hallway, a spirit where you stood. I reach out and touch you, if I only could. You're a flicker in the corner, a shimmer in the glass, watching all the moments that we never got to pass. I'm living in a museum of a love that didn't stay, just a ghost in the hallway, fading to gray. I found your old blue sweater tucked behind the shelf. It still smells like the secrets you kept on yourself. I put it on to feel a ghost of how you used to hold, but the wool is feeling heavy and the sleeves are feeling cold. I'm tracing every footprint that you left upon the floor, but they lead into a darkness that I can't find anymore. You're just a ghost in the hallway, a spirit where you stood. I reach out and touch you, if I only could. You're a flicker in the corner, a shimmer in the glass, watching all the moments that we never got to pass. I'm living in a museum of a love that didn't stay, just a ghost in the hallway, fading to gray. I'm not afraid of the dark, I'm afraid of the light, because the morning shows me clearly you didn't survive the night. In my head you're still laughing, you're still walking through the frame, but the walls don't even whisper when I call out your name. You're just a ghost in the hallway, a spirit where you stood. I reach out and touch you, if I only could. You're a flicker in just a ghost in the hallway, just a spirit where you stood. I still see you, I still feel you fade away, fade away, fade away. Fireflies are dancing in the bottle of my mind, a captured bit of magic that we left so far behind. The smell of cut grass and the taste of cherry wine, stuck in a July that was yours and mine. We swore on every star that fell this summer in the sky that we burn bright forever, you and I. But forever turned to sometime, and sometime passed us by. Now all I have is the heat of a July that's gone, gone July. You took the sun with you when you left me with December glow and an endless cold unrest. Every popsicle sunset, every barefoot dusty street just leads me to the moment that our hearts would skip a beat. And stop, gone July, you're a photograph I can't delete. I drive by the diner where you kissed me in the rain. The jukebox is still playing our forgotten sad refrain. I wear the shell necklace, it's cool against my skin, a souvenir from beaches where our end did begin. We were tanned and timeless, living in a golden hue, with nothing in the future that we felt we couldn't do. But the calendar kept turning, as it always, always does, and the July of us just was gone July. You took the sun with you when you left me with December glow and an endless cold unrest. Every popsicle sunset, every barefoot dusty street just leads me to the moment that our hearts would skip a beat. And still gone July, you're a photograph I can't delete. Was it the season? Was it just the heat? Making promises that our November souls could never keep. Now autumn's coming early, there's a chill beneath the breeze, and I'm searching for your shadow in the shadows of the trees that we planted in that July. Gone July, you took the sun, left me learning how to breathe in a season that's undone. Every late night conversation, every secret that we'd share is just a fireworks memory bursting in the empty air. Oh, gone July, you're a ghost of summer in my hair. The door closed with a whisper, not a slam. The world just got so hollow since you went. I call your name into the canyon of this room and listen for the reply you never sent. I'm chasing after shadows of the sound your laugh would make, but every time I catch one, it's a new and fresh mistake. A memory that's twisted or a dream I can't defend, and I'm waiting for the silence to just finally end. I'm living in the last echo of your voice. It's a fading hollow resonance. I don't have a choice. It bounces off these empty walls, a lonely dying art. The last echo of the beating of my foolish, hopeful heart. The last echo is all that's left to keep. I wear your old t-shirt. It's a museum of your scent, a relic of a summer that came and that it went. I play the conversation from our final fateful night on a loop inside my head until I lose the light. I've memorized the cadence of the I love yous you'd employ. Now they're just a rhythm for this symphony of void, and the loudest thing I hear is overwhelming peace, is the echo of the moment when our love had to cease. I'm living in the last echo of your voice. It's a fading hollow resonance. I don't have a choice. It bounces off these empty walls, a lonely dying art. The last echo of the beating of my foolish, hopeful heart. The last echo. How long does sound travel in a vacuum of regret? How many times can it reflect before I just forget? The timbre and the tone of it, the melody you would speak. Or will I just keep listening, growing tired and weak to this last echo? I'm living in the last echo of your voice. It's a fading hollow resonance. I've got no other choice. It's bouncing off these empty walls, a lonely dying art. The last echo of the beating of my shattered heart. This last echo is all I have. Just an echo. We were writing such a story, inkwell deep and pages wide, with adventures in the margins, you forever by my side. I thought I knew the ending, saw the arc so clear and true. The hero gets the lover after all they've battled through. But you took the penman's sentence, left a cliffhanger in the air. Her protagonist just standing, frozen in a stunned despair. And you walked out of the narrative, you closed the cover tight, leaving me with lost chapters in the middle of the night. These lost chapters, where did our plot go wrong? The love song that I'm singing feels like somebody else's song. I'm flipping through the emptiness between hello and the end, trying to find the pages that you didn't let me pen. Oh, these lost chapters, a book that's incomplete, a story with no ending, walking down a one-way street. The setting's grown so unfamiliar, the characters have changed. The me that you were riding with feels utterly deranged. I try to read the foreshadowing in every look you gave, but it's just cryptic scribbles on the road into the grave of us. Was there a twist I missed, a villain I became, or did the author simply lose a passion for the game? Now I'm editing the memories, a desperate failing art, trying to stitch together a lost chapter of my heart. These lost chapters, where did our plot go wrong? The love song that I'm singing feels like somebody else's song. I'm flipping through the emptiness between hello and the end, trying to find the pages that you didn't let me pen. Oh, these lost chapters, a book that's incomplete, a story with no ending, walking down a one-way street. Maybe some stories aren't meant to have a final page. Maybe we were just a prologue written in a reckless age. But my soul keeps writing sequels in the quiet and the dark, searching for your signature, your defining final mark in these lost chapters. Closed, the shelf is dust, just lost chapters of love and trust. This California king feels like a ride lost out at sea, an ocean of cool cotton where you want used to cling to me. A starfish in the center, try to claim it as my own, but my body just keeps rolling to the dense body's grown. I buy new fancy pillows, try to fill the empty space, but they're too firm, too perfect, they don't hold your pillow's case. I sleep on my own side now, a rigid, careful line. Afraid if I drift over, I'll break a design that's no longer mine. This is my half-empty bed, where I wrestle with the things we said, where the silence is a roaring sound, and the emptiness that wraps around. I clutch the sheets you chose with me, in a bed that's now a testimony to the simple aching truth I dread. My half-empty bed is still half yours instead. The morning sun still finds the spot where your head would rest. It paints a golden rectangle on the pillow I hate best. And for a fleeting moment, in the haze before I'm awake, I reach out, and the emptiness is the first heartbreak. They say time heals, and maybe soon the mattress will forget the specific weight of you, the sunset silhouette. But for now it holds your impression like a secret, sacred mold, and I'm just a lonely tenant in a story that's grown cold. This is my half-empty bed, where I wrestle with the things we said, where the silence is a roaring sound, in the emptiness that wraps around. I clutch the sheets you chose with me, in a bed that's now a testimony to the simple aching truth I dread. My half-empty bed is still half yours instead. So wide, so cold, this story's getting old. Half empty, half full, my heart is just a fool for this half-empty bed. We built a castle from the promises we spoke, on shifting sands of maybes, and it crumbled, smoke by smoke. I held your words like scripture, I believed in every line, but the ink was just emotion, and it faded over time. Oh, we were so delicate, a beautiful, fragile art, but the slightest bit of pressure tore our paper hearts apart. I thought it was a fortress, but it was a house of cards, collapsing in the quiet, leaving nothing but these shards. We had paper hearts, so easily torn, wet with the rain of every goodbye we had sworn. I tried to hold the pieces, but they melted in my hands, just soggy, broken remnants of our paper-hearted plans. Yeah, we had paper hearts not meant to last, it seems, just characters and settings from our paper-hearted dreams. I'm folding up the memories, a painful origami, trying to make a bird that knows exactly how to fly from me. But every crease just whispers of the places that we'd start, I thought that love was stronger, I thought it was made of steel. But it was just a feeling that the weather couldn't feel. A temporary shelter from a storm we didn't see. Now it's just confetti scattered, and it's all that's left of me. We had paper hearts, so easily torn, wet with the rain of every goodbye we had sworn. I tried to hold the pieces, but they melted in my hands. Just soggy, broken remnants of our paper-hearted plans. Yeah, we had paper hearts, not meant to last, it seems. Just characters and settings from a paper-hearted dream. Was it real or just a story that I wanted to be true? A narrative I wrote for me and wrote for you. Now I'm left here with the ending and a page I can't restart, trying to build a heart of something harder than paper. We had paper hearts, oh they bled, so they tore, so easily torn. When we were, I'm holding just the pieces, they're dissolving in my head. And just the ghost of what we planned, we were just paper. We were just paper. With paper heart. The ground began to crumble back in late July. I didn't see the warning signs, I didn't ask them why. Now there's a giant crater where my living room should be, and all my friends are standing around just to look at me. They bring me Tupperware and sorries, they bring their pity eyes, but they're standing on the solid ground while my foundation dies. It's just sinkhole sympathy, watching from the edge, throwing down some flowers from the safety of the ledge. They're glad it isn't them down here drowning in the dirt, while they offer up their thoughts and prayers to cover up the hurt. Yeah, I'm falling and they're watching sinkhole sympathy. They tell me it'll get better, they tell me stay real strong, while they're backing up their cars so they can move along. I can see the fascination in the way they look below, like I'm a tragic movie or a twisted kind of show. They don't wanna jump in, they don't wanna get their shoes all black, they just wanna say they saw me before they all headed back. The dirt is in my mouth now, the sky is just a die, and I'm learning who'll stay and I'm learning who'll not. It's just sinkhole sympathy, watching from set the table for two, just a habit I keep, a ritual I practice before I go to sleep. The porcelain is polished, the silver's in its place, but I'm staring at the hollow where I used to see your face. The wood is dark and polished, the velvet soft and deep. It's the only promise that I managed to keep. It's the empty chair seat for no one I'm onion to. Everything that's over and done, I talk to the air like you're sitting right there, pulling out the ghost of the life we used to share. It's a heavy kind of lonely, a burden I must bear, staring at the shadow in the empty chair. The sunlight is the fabric in a way that makes me cry. Reminds me of the mornings when you didn't have to try to make me laugh at nothing, to make the coffee sweet. Now I'm just a woman with a task that's incomplete. I could move it to the attic, I could throw it in the street, but it feels like moving mountains just to leave a vacancy. It's the empty chair seat for no one, a monument to everything that's over and done. I talk to the air like you're sitting right there, pulling out the ghost of the life we used to share. It's a heavy kind of lonely, a burden I must bear, staring at the shadow in the empty chair. Maybe tomorrow I'll finally let it go, invite a different stranger to the only life I know. But the thought of someone else resting where you sat, I'm just not ready. I'm not ready for that. Everything that's over and done, I talk to the air like you're sitting right there, pulling out the ghost of the life we used to share. It's a heavy kind of lonely, a burden I must bear, staring at the shadow in the empty chair. Dinner's getting cold, the stories have been told, just a seat for none, just a seat for you. Wasn't a bang or a crash in the night. It wasn't a scream was taking you from me. I sat on the edge of the mattress and prayed for a storm to roll in, so you'd feel forced to stay. But oh, the sound of leaving is a terrible thing. It's the snap of a wire, the end of a spring. It's the gravel that crunches under the tire, the cooling of embers at the end of the fire. It's quieter than breathing, but louder than pain. The sound of you leaving, like soft summer rain. Didn't say much, just I'm sorry I tried. Well, I kept the hurricane locked up inside. The click of the latch was a final lament to a story I'll never be reading again. Now the house has a heartbeat that's out of its sync, and I'm standing alone by a dirty glass sink. I take the shout and I take the debris. If it meant they still had a reason for me, but the silence you left is a deafening roar, rolling like waves on a desolate shore. That was the sound, that was the end. You planted poems in the soil of my soul, each always and forever, making me feel whole. You watered them with whispers in the morning light, and I bloomed so bravely, thinking everything was right. But seasons change, and gardeners can lose their will. The loving hands grew distant, and the weather turned to chill. Now I'm a garden overgrown with every phrase you said, a bouquet of wilted words living in my head. These wilted words, they hang like dying roses in the air. The perfume of your promises was more than I could bear. Eternity is brittle now, my love is tinged with brown. Just wilted words you gave me, then you let me watch them drown. Oh, these wilted words are all that's left to hold. I press them in the pages of the journals that I keep, trying to save the beauty from a love that's grown too deep in decay. But the ink is running, bleeding into white, and the petals of your sonnets just keep crumbling as I try to remember how they felt when they were vibrant, fresh and new. Not this faded, fragile what's false and true. I'm a linguist of a love that's lost its mother tongue, singing songs with wilted words from when my heart was young. These wilted words, they hang like dying roses in the air. The perfume of your promises was more than I could bear. Eternity is brittle now, my love is tinged with brown. Just wilted words you gave me, then you let me watch them drown. Oh, these wilted words are all that's left to hold. Maybe words are just like flowers, meant to beauty for a day, and we were foolish to believe they never fade away. But I still whisper them at midnight to the moon, these wilted words, hoping they might bloom just once more. These wilted words, they're falling from the air. The dust of what you promised me is everywhere. Forever is just fragments, my love is just a sound. Just wilted, wilted words scattered on the ground. Wilted. It's hanging on the hook behind the pantry door, a shade of the denim that you don't wear anymore. I see it every morning when I'm making the tea, a localized ghost that is staring at me. You walked away like you walked away free, but you left a heavy set version of you with me. You left your jacket, I left my heart, watching the world slowly falling apart. A physical trade in a spiritual war, between the now and the evermore. The fabric is cold, but the memory is sharp, strumming a ghost of a song on my heart. Try to return it, I try to let go, but the rhythm of the us is starting too slow. I put it on once just to feel a bit of the heat in the middle of a total and localized defeat. It smells like your citrus and it smells like the rain, a high definition version of a vintage style pain. Maybe I'll burn it, or maybe I'll keep the secrets and the promises I wasn't allowed to sleep. But it's a lopsided bargain, a bitter style deal, to trade a piece of my soul for a piece of the real. You left your jacket, I left my heart, watching the world slowly falling apart. A physical trade in a spiritual war, between the now and the evermore. The fabric is cold, but the memory is sharp, strumming a ghost of a song on my heart. it, and I lost control.